Welcome back. Now we have played this game called Move It. Now we are going to learn a method that is going to help us to, or that will assist us in problem or in solving the problems that we face in this game. This method is the detective method. So I want you to visualize, or I want you to imagine a detective. How does he look like? What is he wearing? What is he holding in his hand? Maybe you have seen a detective on the TV, a TV series or something. And a function of a detective's job is to solve mysteries. Now, I wonder if you know what is the main tool that the detectives use to solve problems and mysteries. Have you wondered what is his main tool? Well, the main tool that detectives use is simply asking questions. All detectives around the world use this simply tool, asking questions. But you know that detectives don't ask just like any questions that comes to their minds. No, to sort the information and to connect between the pieces and the clues they find, the detectives ask questions in an orderly and in a systematic way. This means that they use a methodical procedure. This means that they use a step-by-step method. So what is the method that they use? Well, as I told you, we have a three-step method. The step number one that they use is to define the primary objective. And that is what we have to do if we use this method. We need to define our main objective. The question that we should ask is, what do we want to achieve? The step number two is that we need to identify obstructive factors. So what is blocking our way? And now it is time to break down the problem into secondary objectives. In the step number three, we use systematic question asking. Where should this obstacle move to? These are the three steps that we need to take for us to ask questions in an orderly way, in a systematic way, if we want to use the detective method. Now, I want to review this game position with you, applying in the detective method to the situation that you faced when you were playing Move It. In the step number one, we need to define what we want to achieve. That is the step number one in the detective method. Remember that problems arise when there is an objective that we want to accomplish, but there is something in our brain, in our way, that it's blocking us from achieving it. So in this first step of the detective method, we will define our main objective. So the question is, what is the main objective? Well, the objective of the game is to clear the furniture from the mover's way, from the boy, so he can leave the room. That is our main objective. Step number one in the detective method. Do you remember what is the second step in the detective method? Well, let's move on to the second step. In this step, now when our primary objective becomes clear, now we can point to the factors obstructing our way to solve the problem. And an obstructive factor, it's an obstacle that prevents us from reaching our objectives. Can you analyze the situation? Can you analyze the position and name the obstacles between the mover and the exit? Can you name the obstacles between the boy and the exit? What are the obstacles? So as you said, effectively is the red sofa, or actually the orange sofa, and the box. Okay, now we have to move on to the third step of the method. So on the third step, we have to ask ourselves, what are the secondary goals that we need to set? That is the question that we need to ask ourselves. So in the stage 3, in the detective method, it is a really important part of the method, because everything that we have defined as an obstructive factor blocking our way to the primary objective, now it is becoming a secondary objective. And what is a secondary objective? Well, a secondary objective is a smaller problem. And when we solve this smaller problem, the solution is going to move us closer to our primary objective. So in this case, the secondary objective is to move the red sofa out of the orange way to find the solution. Now I want you to think about how we can apply the detective method in a real life situation. Well, Alex is a first grader, and this week he was sick and he decided to stay home. Now Alex wants to know if the teacher assigned any homework, so he can do it over the weekend, the homework that he was assigned. However, there's a problem, and none of his classmates have come to visit, and he doesn't know what he has to do. So think about this situation and try to relate to it. Can you relate to this situation? Maybe this happened to you before. Now we are going to apply the detective method to practice it. For example, we will use questions in order to solve the problem. Questions like, what is the main objective? What are the obstacles on the way? What are the secondary goals that we need to set? Remember the 3 steps of the detective method. Now, what is the main objective in your opinion? Of course, we can have many answers, and they are going to be different, but maybe our main objective, we are all agree that our main objective is to find out if Alex has a homework or has homework for his weekend. That is the main objective. Now, according to the story, that it was in the first obstacle, that it was preventing them preventing you from having the information. The question is, how can Alex contact one of his classmates? Because he doesn't have any contacts with his classmates. Now, in this question, we can identify another obstacle. Alex doesn't know any classmate's phone number, so that is a problem. And that leads us to another obstacle. I don't know a classmate's phone number, so how can he get a classmate phone number or an email address? What do you think about this problem or applying this method? Well, the solution that we can get, one of the solutions that we can get to this problem is that he can locate the email address in the mailing list that the teachers sent them. But again, this is just a solution. You can have a variety of solutions for this problem. But now you have realized how can we apply the detective method not only in the game, but also in a real life situation. Now, we are all detectives. What do you think? Do you think that we are surrounded by detectives? Actually, yes. And now I will introduce you to different professions that we have in our everyday lives. For example, a coach, a lawyer, and a waiter, they are all use questions in order to get information from others. For example, which one do you want to get to know more about? Maybe a waiter. For example, a waiter, what kind of problems does he face? What kind of questions does he ask? How can the detective method help him? These are really good questions for us to understand that almost everyone asks questions. But if we use the detective method, we are going to find creative ways to solve our problem, to gather information and solve our problems. So this was the detective method. I hope you could or you liked it, and see you next time.